I thought it was really fun. A lot of the Pokemon Jeopardy or like trivia stuff is like kind of easy, but I think this one was pretty challenging in terms of like the questions, like a level of difficulty. So I really liked it. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's actually kind of what inspired me to make this was I was watching some like other people do it on YouTube and I was like these questions are all too easy. Categories in card memory. I'm going to post a blacked out picture of a card currently legal in the standard format. You have to tell me what the text of that card says. Video games, spin offs, and anime are all regular trivia style questions, except with the 100-point questions, where everyone gets to respond and it is guaranteed somebody will get the points. In the false statement section, I am going to blatantly lie to you. Your job is to tell me what is wrong from the information that I provide. Darsh was the first player to sign up, so I'm going to start by giving them control of the board. Which category would you like?
Card memory 100.
Your card is Switch. What is the text on this card?
Switch one of your benched Pokemon with your active Pokemon.
That is correct. And that would actually be different if you were looking at a more modern printing of Switch. Currently, the text says switch your active Pokemon with one of your benched Pokemon. But since this one is from base set, you have gotten the question correct.
Video games 300, please.
This Pokemon has Pokedex number 101. Some may describe it as adorably round if you look at the right angle.
Jigglypuff.
What is Morel?
Belay was very close. The correct answer is Electrode. Since nobody got this, I'm going to move control of the board down to the next player. Spider, what would you like to go for?
Card memory for 500.
Alrighty. You're going to need to tell me the text that is blacked out from this card. If you can't read the currently available information, it is Pokedex number 490. It is the seafaring Pokemon. It's about a foot tall, weighs a couple of pounds. And
What's the set symbol and the number?
Brilliant Stars. Number 41 out of 172.
Oh yeah, sorry. It's is it common? I can't see it.
Oh,
like
it is
the
a
shape.
rare.
It is a rare. All right. Is it? What is? I guess Pelipper on the top.
I'm gonna be honest. I have no idea. I'll pass for this one.
It is not Cloyster.
Samurott?
Though a couple of these guesses were evolved Pokemon. I don't know if you guys weren't able to see it, but it is a basic. This is Manaphy. I thought that the Pokedex number might help out, but if you don't play the games very much, then probably not. So at the end of Gen 4, the Pokedex was at 493 total. So by being 490, it's a big clue that it's a legendary.
Let's go with video games 200, please.
Sure. Which of these does not belong? Is it Batty Bad, Bouncy Bubble, Buzzy Buzz, Floaty Fall, Freezy Frost, Glitzy Glow, Sparkly Swirl, Splishy Splash, or Zippy Zap?
What is Floaty Fall?
It is not Buzzy Buzz either.
Bouncy Bubble.
So what these moves all share in common is that they are the exclusive moves of Pikachu and Eevee in the Let's Go games. The one that does not belong here is Grassy Glide, which is a move that other Pokemon are able to learn. False statements for 500. Alright. Pokemania helped sell everything related to the Pokemon franchise and was a large factor in the TCG's early success. Unfortunately, the competitive scene suffered greatly from high-powered cards from early sets such as Lass, Energy Removal, and Super Energy Removal. Even after Neo Genesis introduced Gen 2 Pokemon, the strongest decks of the format still relied heavily on old cards such as base set Blastoise. The game finally stabilized once the executives caved to player demand and introduced format rotation alongside the new Japanese card backs that they use to this day. So the question basically here is, what is wrong? Alright, I can confirm Lass does in fact affect both opponents. So Darsh, you have a guess here. What do you think is wrong with this statement?
I don't think Glass was in base set.
Alas is a base set card. Spider, do you have a guess?
Maybe that there was a format rotation after Neon Genesis? Is that...
I'd say the sentence that says that the format still relied heavily on old cards. I think Gen 2 actually brought some pretty strong cards, like Sneasel, so that's why I'm gonna say that's a false statement.
That's a really good guess, but it is also incorrect. One of the best decks during the Gen 2 format was a Feraligatr Blastoise deck that used Rain Dance to just put a bunch of water energies onto the field, and it took a really long time for them to address this. Before the format rotation, there was actually a different ban list called the Hall of Fame, and what they did was assign certain cards point values, and you weren't able to run more than 4 points total in your deck. So some cards like Cleffa were worth 1 point, alongside other cards like Energy Removal, so you couldn't run both 4 Cleffa and 4 Energy Removal. You could only run 4 as a total sum of those cards. And then if you ran 4 of those, you couldn't run any 2, 3, or 4 point cards in your deck. The thing that's wrong here is that players actually hated the format rotation. Japanese players in multiple TCGs just will drop the game when format rotations come out. If you've ever played Yu-Gi-Oh!, you might know that cards all the way back from 2002 are still legal to this day, and it's because the Yu-Gi-Oh! Designers saw games like Pokémon and Monster Collection just get gutted by the introduction of rotations. Nobody got that one right, so I believe that puts us back to Darsh. Darsh, go ahead.
Let's go video game 100.
Alrighty. I'm going to go ahead and set a 30-second timer, so go ahead and start typing your responses now. The correct answers are Battle Arena, Dome, Factory, Tower, Palace, Pike, and Pyramid. Taking a look, I want to say Wishcast definitely got the most answers here, so I'm going to go ahead and give them the points.
Let's go with Spinoff's 100.
Pokemon Mystery Dungeon Explorers of Sky is a fan-favorite game, sometimes regarded even higher than mainline titles. At the start of the game, players take a personality quiz which determines who they play as during the course of the story. The options include Pikachu, Eevee, the starter Pokemon from Gens 1 to 4, and 5 more Pokemon. Let's take a look at the right answers. It is Vulpix, Phanpy, Skitty, Shinx, and Riolu. Meowth and Munchlax are available as partner Pokemon, but can't actually be chosen as part of the personality quiz for yourself.
Let's go with Spinoff's 200.
From plush to lunchboxes, Pokemon branded merchandise is guaranteed to sell, and the highest selling spin-off is Pokemon Stadium, which featured the series' first 3D battles. Included was a series of 9 minigames, including Drowsy's Snore Wars, Lickitun's Sushi Go Round, and a generator charging game featuring Voltorb and Pikachu named what? Have you ever played Pokemon Stadium?
I have not.
Has anyone here played Pokemon Stadium? The name of the minigame is Thundering Dynamo. Pokemaniacs may enjoy rare Pokemon, and that's actually the first official name for shiny Pokemon. The latter term would not officially be seen in-game until the introduction of the shiny charm in Black 2, White 2. Like last time, tell me what is incorrect about this statement. Bum 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 ba 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 bum bum ba bum bum bum. Valk has given a true statement that the first shiny Pokemon most players will encounter is the red Gyarados in Gold and Silver, but it was not referred to as a shiny Pokemon in-game.
I think the shiny charm was introduced in Black and White, not Black and White 2.
Maybe that's not the first official name for shiny Pokemon?
No, so rare Pokemon is actually both what is used in the original debug menus in Gold and Silver, and it's also referenced on some English websites as well.
sort of a wild guess, but I think that shiny Pokemon were actually used in a game before Black and White 2, which makes that a false statement.
That is the correct answer. It was not Black and White 2, but Black and White, where a trainer will mention a shiny crocodile in part of their battle text, I believe.
Let's go with Anime 100.
Sure thing. Everybody's going to go ahead and try to order these Pokemon based on when they first appeared in the most recent anime series, Pokemon Journeys. Let's go ahead and look at the correct ordering, which is Lugia, Zapdos, Mewtwo, Suicune, Darkrai, Cresselia, Regidrago, and then Virizion.
Card memory for 200.
Sure thing. Your card is Mew VMAX. What is the card text for Cross Fusion Strike?
Choose the attacks of one of your benched fusion Pokemon and use it as this attack.
Let's go with choose the attacks of one of your bench Fusion Strike Pokemon and use it as this attack.
I think that is exactly what Spider said, which is still incorrect.
Choose an attack of one of your other Fusion Strike Pokemon and use it as this attack.
Also a good guess, but it is choose one of your bench Fusion Strike Pokemon's attacks and use it as this attack. Generation 3 brought the Pokedex total up to 386 unique species. However, lucky players of Gold and Silver may already be familiar with the number 386 in a different context. What is it?
I'm going to pass this one.
Emerald City in the, what's it called? The gambling,
A Game Corner reward or something?
yeah, that one.
The lucky part leads me to believe that it's part of the radio contest in the Goldenrod Radio Tower where you get a missed daily gift every day.
386 is in fact the maximum score in the bug catching contest.
Card memory for 300, please.
Sure thing. This time we've got Crobat V's Dark Asset, a card I am sure every one of you has played many times. But what is the text on Dark Asset?
When you play this card from your hand onto your bench, you may draw cards until you have 6 cards in your hand. You can only use one Dark Asset ability per turn.
When you play this Pokemon from your hand to your bench during your turn, you may draw up to 6 cards. You cannot use more than one Dark Asset ability. That's it.
I'll go with once during your turn, you may play this card onto your bench. When you do, draw cards until you have 6 cards in your hand. You may not use more than one Dark Asset ability during your turn.
Darsh was close enough that I probably would have given it to them if they had gotten the during your turn. Of course, this is important for cards like Mawile GX, which can bench the Crobat V while it is not your turn. If something like that happens, you are not allowed to draw cards.
Anime for 200.
Sure thing. I'm going to need you to tell me what was the first shiny Pokemon to appear in the anime.
Gyarados.
Pikachu?
I think it's Ash's shiny Noctowl.
That is correct. Originally, this question was just going to be which one does Ash own, but I thought it might be too easy. So I'm glad somebody still managed to get it correct.
Let's go video games 400, please.
Pokemon Sword and Shield feature Leon, the undefeated champion of the Galar region. Leon owns an undefeated Charizard that has never been defeated. Battling Pokemon gives XP, and Charizard has never been defeated, despite being in many battles. What level is it when you fight it during the initial champion battle?
Let's go with 59.
Pokemon stats can be influenced in a variety of ways. Nature's raise and lower stat by 10%. IVs range from 0 to 31 and provide 1 point in that stat at level 100, and EVs range from 0 to 252 per stat, providing 1 point per 4 EVs at level 100. a Pokemon can have 31 IVs in all 6 stats, but are limited to just 508 EVs, the equivalent of 252 EVs in 2 stats, and 4 left over for 1 point in any stat you want. This was changed in Generation 8, I believe, to make it actually a cap of 252 rather than 255. But that would be correct if we were talking about older games.
The nature's raising lowering by 10%.
A Pokemon is not limited to 580 EVs.
Pokemon are limited to 510 EVs.
All statement for 100.
Drapion V, number 106 out of 185, is a 210 HP Dark-type Pokemon. Its powerful Hazardous Claws attack hits Mew VMAX for weakness, allowing it to score a one-hit KO against one of the most popular Pokemon in the meta. However, it has a hefty 3 retreat and weakness to fighting, so be careful benching it against other matchups.
Drapion V's attack name is not Hazardous Claws.
It is the number out of the set.
I believe it has a weakness to grass instead of fighting, making that statement false.
You all have been tricked, deceived, and potentially even bamboozled. For you see, there are 2 Drapion V cards, and this one does not actually score a one-hit KO against Mew VMAX.
Right. Card memory for 400.
The card this time is everyone's favorite number 1 deck in the meta, Lugia V Star. What is the text on Summoning Star?
You may put up to 2 colorless Pokemon from your discard pile onto your bench. You cannot use more than 1 V-Star power in a game.
Once during your turn, you may use this ability. Put up to 2 colorless Pokemon from your discard pile onto your bench. You can only use 1 V-Star power a game.
Once during your turn, you may use this ability. Search your discard pile for up to 2 colorless Pokemon and put them on your bench. You may only use 1 Primordial Star ability during your turn, and you may only use 1 V-Star power during your game.
The thing that everybody here missed is that Summoning Star actually cannot put Rule Box Pokemon into play. So the card memory section is done now, and I apologize. That was apparently a lot harder than it was meant to be. When I was designing it, I was like, okay, so obviously everybody's played a ton of Crobat Vs over the past year or 2. So I was expecting, the person to go into it to get it wrong. But then by the time we have like 4 iterations of guesses, I figured people would be getting them. But that's probably my fault. I'm not sure I would be very good at that category either. Nowadays, Mystery Gift is an automatically unlocked feature, allowing players to receive special distributions with the Get Via Internet and Get with Code Password options. However, older generations required players to unlock the feature before it would appear on the menu. For example, in Generation 2, Mystery Gift is unlocked by talking to an NPC on the 5th floor of the Goldenrod department store. Similarly, in Pokemon Emerald, players must enter the password linked together with everyone at any Pokemart. Falk is correct. The password was actually linked together with all. Pokemon Channel released on the GameCube and featured a gameplay loop which mostly involved watching TV. Fittingly, the game featured an exclusive anime episode revolving around the Pichu brothers. What happens during this episode?
Maybe the Pichu brothers stole something.
I remember apples, a couple Pichus, and then some sort of apple orchard, I think.
I'll guess that they're hanging around Alex Forest and they steal an apple from the shrine and then they meet Celebi.
So basically, Meowth from Team Rocket is hosting a party and has sent out invitations to everybody. These invitations are shaped like various fruit, which is where you're getting the apple from, alongside things like melons, grapes, and I believe a banana. But basically, the Pichu brothers did not receive an invitation, so they go around trying to find one, chasing after an invitation that that got like blown away into the wind, and eventually they do get invited and they go to the party. If any of you have watched the Japanese version of the anime, there's actually a song early on, I want to say it's like the third ending theme, is actually named Meowth's Party, and this is how America got the localized version of that song.
Spin-offs 300, please.
In 2020, Pokemon generated some negative news buzz when rebranding one mobile game to Pokemon Masters EX. The next year, they rebranded a different game. Can you tell me which game that was?
I'll pass.
Alrighty.
Unite?
I think, was it Pokemon Cafe into Pokemon Cafe Remix?
Delay has earned 300 points and now has control of the board.
Let's finish off spin-offs then. Spin-offs 400.
Sure. In Pokemon Conquest, a Pokemon's power is determined in part by which warlord uses it. The main villain, Nobunaga, is notable for having perfect links with Zekrom and Shiny Rayquaza. However, they have a perfect link with a third non-legendary Pokemon. What is it?
Zoroark?
Weezing?
Hydreigon?
It is Hydreigon. Did you know that, or was that a guess?
I was guessing that it was a pseudo-legendary dragon type.
Fair enough, and
then,
that was the most
Hydreigon's
recent
from
one.
Gen 5. Anime 400, please.
Sure. At the end of each generation, Ash competes in a league conference. Ignoring subplots like the Orange Islands and Battle Frontier, what was the first time Ash obtained a worse placement than the previous one?
He placed worse in Generation 7 compared to Generation 6.
No. Generation 7, Sun and Moon, Ash actually won the entire thing.
Gen 3?
I know we made it pretty far in Generation 4, so I'm gonna guess from Generation 4 to 5. Let's do Anime 500.
In the X, Y, and Z anime, Bonnie bonds with a singular Zygarde cell, and occasionally hums or sings a song, which is also one of the show's ending themes. What is the name of that song?
Oh. Bonnie and Zygarde's Fun Time Song.
I really like that answer, but it is incorrect. Spider, would you like to go ahead and take a guess?
Sorry, I'm still laughing on it. No, I have no idea. Pass.
Fair enough.
Zygarde and me.
So, Bonnie names the Zygarde cell, and the song is named after the name that Bonnie gives to the cell, which is Squishy in English or Puni-chan in Japanese. Episode 1 begins with a reference to the video game's own opening cinematic depicting a battle between Nidorino and Gengar. However, the anime's fight goes on just a little bit longer. After Nidorino faints, what Pokemon is swapped in?
Arcanine?
Arbok?
Maybe something with a positive type matchup, so I'll guess Jinx?
It is not Jinx, but it is actually a Pokemon with a positive type matchup. It is Onix. Some people theorize that this could be a battle between Agatha and Bruno, since they have the multiple Onix, though I don't think Bruno's team actually includes any Nidorino. Relay with 1,500 points is the champion. I'll go ahead and send you a trade on PTCGO in a little bit.